Welcome to Six Pack Discussions, where Cody and Jared take on the biggest, most talked about headlines with logic, passion, and a six pack of beer.
If you're listening, we challenge you to take an unbiased view of the world, because we know these conversations are complicated. So sit down, crack a beer, and welcome a new perspective. Okay, guys. Cracking the first beer. What are we drinking here, Jared? We've been chatting already for a little bit, but what are we drinking, man?
You know, actually, we are drinking one of my favorites. I don't know if we've done this.
What?
I don't know if we've done this on the episodes, but these usually, I thought, come in like 16-ounce guys.
I've never had this. I didn't know you liked Belching Beaver.
Dude, this Deftones Phantom Bride, I get it at the grocery store probably once every few months.
I've never seen this beer.
Yeah,
I
thought it was a cool. I've never seen it in a six pack, so that's really unique because I've never seen that. I've always seen it as a 4-pack, but 16 ounces.
Dude, I'm pumped because I've never seen this. I thought I was actually going to surprise you today.
Nope.
So you saw this and you're already a little giddy.
Yeah. Little pep in my step, you know.
Little childhood dreams there. Okay, so dude, today, Jared introduced the beer. We're talking about, should medical marijuana be legal?
And you know, it's one of those things, and I'm sure we're going to contradict this 8 times over.
Yeah.
But I want to start off this episode by saying this may be the least controversial thing we've ever talked about, according to recent data or Pew Research.
Yeah, I would say so too.
And the point that I'm trying to make here, regardless of Democrats, Republicans, whatever. Yes, for recreational use, it's about, the American people are about 68, 65%. For medical,
it's like 95.
It's an additional like 25%. Yeah. Literally 1 out of 10 people thinks that it should not be legal.
Yeah, medical marijuana, which is interesting. It's now legal in 38 states.
Total. Yep.
So 38
well,
states.
37 states plus DC. So
okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. And I think Puerto Rico Puerto Rico also says cool with it. But
look, I draw the line at DC. I'm not going.
I didn't count DC even, but I guess it's 37 states plus DC. Is that what it is? So that is 2/3 of the states.
Sure.
And that's how many states it takes to ratify the Constitution at this point. So let's just, guys, it's like...
Dude, I didn't even get to the Constitution ratification thing.
Yeah, like you need 2/3 of states to ratify an amendment. You know.
Yeah, just Amendment 21 it already.
It's just, come on, guys.
Isn't that abolishing Prohibition 21?
Bring it back. And this episode's done. No,
well, but... Hey, guys, so actually I'm going to give this beer a pretty high score.
So, this used to be extremely controversial. Let's talk about why medical marijuana is not legal in 12 states and why it's now just recently legal in most of them. I don't know if you want to go through a little bit of the history.
So I want to almost address the stigma. And in my head, guys, I think you can kind of tell where I lean on this. In my head, whenever I see someone, like, so you guys got to understand, playing football, I have seen a lot of people take a lot of painkillers. I will tell myself, I have taken a lot of painkillers.
Yeah.
I've not partaken in marijuana for pain management, though.
Yeah.
Right? In my head, from a social norm, from a stigma standpoint, I still find it more acceptable to pop a pill than smoke a joint.
Oh, 100%.
What the fuck? It is wildly unhealthy for me. But I still think it's, in my head, oh, well, he's doing the right thing.
Sorry, guys.
Or are you trying to like emulate something like a little smoker's cough? Or what are you doing there?
I know. It's funny that you say that because I didn't realize the difference in when I was doing this research. There's a huge kind of like what's bad for you and what's good for you, medical marijuana or just marijuana versus an opioid like fentanyl or all those Oxycontins, all those
Percocets. Yeah.
Which one are you probably going to get addicted to?
Oh, it's not even the same conversation. The opioid.
Exactly. An opioid, right?
It's not even the same conversation.
And
which one can you easily OD on?
Exactly. Which one can you OD on? How about that?
Even better. Yeah.
Right?
Even better.
Can you OD on? Which one is probably the one that you don't want anybody driving around or doing any type of heavy machinery work? I would say neither, but if you were going to pick one.
Yeah. Lesser
right?
of two evils.
Exactly. There's just so many things that...
Which one are you likely to get addicted to long term?
Well, I said that, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear
that.
But that was what you led with. I'm
sorry. It's just fascinating that, the United States government said, hey, marijuana goes into this category. And opioids, if a doctor prescribes it, good to go. Good to go. And we now are coming off of probably the last 20 years of what most people are going to call the opioid epidemic.
Right? I mean, we've already talked about that. That was very early on in our podcasting days, I believe.
I think 170,000 overdoses last year are attributed to opioids like fentanyl and Oxycontin. 170,000 people? No one else. I think this is the third or fourth leading cause of death. This is against heart disease and cancer and shit. What? That's crazy, right? And which one is the worst one? Do you ever see how many people died from smoking weed last month? Maybe one because they were driving or something stupid.
I mean, guys,
it's zero almost.
It's a rounding error.
Exactly.
Difference.
Exactly.
So that's what I don't understand, though. I mean, is it? And we touched on this in earlier episodes, and I was really trying to understand because, like I said, I even did the research. And today, I'm sitting here telling you, I am judging someone that is smoking weed more than someone that's popping a Percocet for pain management. Why?
Yeah. And I would say I was probably harder on that train than you were.
Yeah. 100% you were.
Yeah. I would say man, I'm like, this guy's smoking a joint. He must be a loser.
Yep.
He's a loser. Going nowhere.
No motivation.
Exactly. I was sold the anti-weed train by Dare.
Oh, yeah. Officer Woody.
Uh-huh. And my parents, right?
Yep.
My mom drilled it in my head. And probably all those campaigns on like the billboards and ads and shit like that on TV.
This is your brain on marijuana.
Exactly. And it's funny because I've known a couple guys that are fairly religious. And they take like pain reliever pills for their back and stuff, right? They're in chronic pain and they take those pills. And they're absolutely against those marijuana, like against it 100%.
Yep. Morally opposed.
Exactly. So funny. One of those people is actually, hopefully he doesn't listen to me here, my dentist. I went to the dentist today, right? We had this conversation and we were talking about it and he said, oh yeah, I had to do blah, blah, blah a while back. It was like 5 or 6 visits ago. And I brought up, not today, but like 2 visits ago, because you don't go to the dentist every 6 months. Brought up something about Colorado passing a law about, I think, mushrooms or weed or something like that. And he's like, yeah, well, their crime rate's going to go up higher. They're going to have more of these problems, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, yeah, so are their taxes, though, to hire more police officers. And their schooling and their education. You know, I think Colorado, $40 million in extra tax revenue from just their weed business overnight, right, within the first year. So it's funny because he was one of those guys that's anti that. And sometimes it's one of those, it's a lot of the people that are kind of more of, I would say more religious. They're probably on the side that's anti-marijuana because they grew up in maybe more of like a
much more conservative
classic household, you could say. And it's like, you know, if your parents went through like the 50s and 60s where marijuana was a little bit more prevalent, and then all of a sudden, I think it was Nixon or Reagan that came in and he says, let's do the war on drugs. Marijuana was a Schedule 1. Nixon. Yeah. Actually, I have it right here. Nixon, 1970, he passed the Controlled Substance Act. So it was under Nixon's administration, but the Congress, of course, strict federal prohibition. And it was placed in the Schedule 1 category along with other drugs. And the idea with Schedule 1 is it has a high potential for abuse, meaning essentially you could almost die off of it.
Yep.
And no acceptable medical use. That's what Schedule 1 is. And so here's the other drugs that are in here, guys. Heroin, LSD, MDMA, which is ecstasy, DMT, that's like another hallucinogen kind of feel-good type drug, and peyote, which is like another hallucinogen, like kind of like a Mexican little plant.
I thought it was Indian. I didn't know it was Mexican.
Native American, in Mexican, right? It grows in Southwest.
Got it.
It's like a little cactus plant that you boil up. Apparently, it's funny. This is weird because I think your parents have this actually in their yard. I think I've seen this before. It's called a star cactus.
Okay.
And so I don't know if you remember, but somebody in your neighborhood did, because I remember seeing this a lot when we used to bike ride around. So peyote is this little tiny like a button. It looks like a pin cushion, right? And it grows in kind of weird, unique places underneath other plants. And you pick that and you boil it. You boil it for like a couple hours, and then you drink the water, and that gives you like this crazy experience.
I thought they had you smoke.
Maybe you can smoke it too, but I think a lot of people drink the liquid. I'm pretty sure.
Well, dude, sure.
We're out of our realm here. Let's just say that, guys.
Yeah.
We could be out of our realm. Please correct us if we're wrong here. But here's another one. That star cactus, apparently you can do the exact same thing. So you go cut a piece of the star cactus that's literally growing in 30 of my neighbors' houses. Like, we can go do this tonight if you want to. We'll go cut it up. We boil it for a couple of
I
hours.
gotta work in the morning, man.
Yeah, it's like a 24-hour hallucination. Like, they got to lock you in a room, apparently. This little star cactus, same exact thing. You can cut it, put it, boil it, and drink the water, and you are on a high of no other. So anyways, Schedule 1 drugs, those are all kind of like more hallucinating.
So it's one of those things where, oh man, what is that thing? It's almost like the phrase, like, one of these things doesn't look like the other.
I think so. I think so.
Why?
Well, here's where it gets even crazier. What are the Schedule 2 drugs? These are what they call high potential for abuse. Same thing as the other ones. But acceptable medical use.
I mean, go little crack cocaine.
Cocaine, PCP, methamphetamine, oxycodone, which is essentially heroin, and fentanyl.
Well, the methamphetamine, that's kind of like the most of the painkillers. Like,
yeah. Well, fentanyl is the painkillers, and oxycodone. Methamphetamine's used as a. It's more similar to cocaine. I think it's more like an upper. I believe it's an amphetamine.
I thought they were like trace similarities in the elemental composition of like meth and like some of the painkillers.
Well, almost all of those are derived from opioids, which is heroin, right? So opioids, it comes, it's like an opioid. I forget the plant. They grow a lot.
Poppy?
Yeah, poppy. Yeah, the poppy plant. All those are opioids, and so you got heroin, oxycodone, fentanyl. Yeah, those are the main ones. Oxycodone, Oxycontin. All those are considered kind of opioid type plants, or opioid type drugs. Mm. Those are the ones that are main painkiller type drugs. What's the other one? Morphine comes from there as well.
From an opioid?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh. I don't think
so. You know what's crazy? I don't know. It's one of those things where I view drugs as like things that make your life, things that can make your life more fun, and things that can really fuck up your life. Those are my two classes, if you will.
And it's funny because all of them can do that. Every single one of them can do either one.
To include what the podcast Six Pack Discussion is about. How many people do you know? How many people do I know that this drug that is in currently our right hands really fucked up that life?
Abuse it, and you will have a bad life.
So, here's what's really weird. So, and this is where I'm a hypocrite. So I was just on this very couch minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I said, I would literally judge someone worse if they were lighting up a joint versus they're popping a pill. But here's my hypocritical ass. So I, myself, now this is probably about a year in the making. Guys, I messed up my back like you read about. I was doing a box jump at a gym. This is about a year and a half ago. Guys, I literally collapsed under myself, under my own weight. I mean, I literally had to crawl and roll and finagle my way. My wife rolled me around in our computer chair for 2 weeks just so I could go to the fucking bathroom in our house. I really messed up my back from football. Yeah. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. And I went right to my medicine cabinet. I didn't have any more muscle relaxers.
Yeah. What's a muscle relaxer? What's like a high? What's like the brand? I don't know what those are.
I don't know. Heavenly.com. I don't know.
No. I was just wondering like what's the prescription?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Those are prescribed.
Yeah. Yep. No, I did everything over the table. They weren't prescribed to me.
Yeah.
Here's what I didn't do stuff over the table. I literally told Brittany, probably a little bit more angrily in this. I was like, go over to my stepdad's house because I know he has muscle relaxers. I go to my mom and David's house now.
Yeah.
Garage code is XYZ. Fucking go get me something.
Yeah. Because you were mortally wounded. That's
guys,
what it felt
like. I've never been this in much pain. So she gets to my parents' house. She goes, Jared, David has a half a pill left. And I was like, that's not going to do a fucking thing for me.
I need options here.
I was like, go to the dispensary. She's like, Jared, are you serious? I was like, go to the dispensary.
Cactus or whatever it's over there on that Ray Road.
Sticky Swirl.
There it is. I knew it was something cactus.
And anyways, so she brought me back some gummies.
Yeah.
And I take a half a gummy.
Yeah.
So she got me that over about a year and a half ago, and I am just on my last half gummy, I believe, like a couple weeks. Yeah, I think there's 20 half gummies. Or 20 gummies.
How much is a pack of 20 gummies?
How much?
Yeah.
I don't know. Brittany's the pothead of the family. I've not been to a dispensary yet. I can't wait for her to listen to this.
If you had to take a guess. $50?
40, $50, sure.
And you okay, how about this?
So that's the so I want to conclude that. That's the hypocrite in me.
Yeah.
I would judge you if you're smoking it, but hey, I'm above thou. I am chewing it. You know, how stupid is that, right?
100%. And it's funny, I have went through this multiple times with myself. Like that, we passed a law in Arizona, right? 2 years ago, we had a proposition to pass recreational marijuana, and everyone would get to vote on this. And me and my wife, we were talking. You know what? Before I talk about story, second beer.
Are you going to remember where you were?
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, as I introduced this earlier, this is Oceanside, California's Belching Beaver. Deftones Fan and Bride. I think it's a 7.1%er.
Yeah, it is.
So on the heftier side, really cool can. Kind of got this Mexican skull, very white background, kind of like this loud hot pink.
It's actually a beaver skull, huh? Would you say?
Yep. That is not a bad.
That's cool looking.
Not a bad.
Named after the Ruthral song by the one and only Deftones. Phantom Bride IPA is a blend of Armilla, Citra, Simlica, and Mosaic hops, delicately balanced for the perfectly drinkable mix of citrus and hoppy goodness. A truly original Deftones Belching Beaver collaboration. That's a weird. Is that spelled right? Collaboration. Yeah. Envisioned by Chino Moreno and skillfully crafted by Thomas Peters. Sit back, put on your headphones, and drink away. Cheers.
I'm always just so impressed with beer marketing teams.
You say this every time, dude.
All beer marketing
every
teams.
time you bring up how excited you are about these.
I actually said that as a joke, just given the hot topic of beer marketing teams.
Oh,
I think we should talk about that too.
We
like in a different episode.
Do it right now. Oh, different episode.
No, I think it's got to be its own podcast on that. How powerful marketing teams can be of a product or something.
Or how much leeway should they possibly have?
Okay.
Maybe that.
Guys, clearly we're talking about Bud Light.
Yeah.
Different episode.
Okay.
But,
so my story.
No. We got to rate it, dude.
Oh, shit, dude. I'm getting bad at the rating somehow. What do you do? What are you giving this? You've already kind of hyped this thing up.
I already did. Because that one extra sip is going to really
what do you think?
alter my rating. Dude, I think this is great. This is one of my favorites. I will go 4.4.
Damn.
Yeah. I love this beer.
Shit.
I think this is such a solid beer. I would order it 10 times out of 10.
Dude, this is a 4.0 for me.
4.0.
This is really good.
I think it's great. I wasn't even kidding earlier. I see this at the grocery store. It hurts me not to get it. I was checking the cameras because I was confused if we were still recording.
But we are. Okay, so my story, dude. You ready?
So we have done that a couple times.
I know. So 4.0, 4.4, we would say go buy it.
All day long.
Cool. Okay, so my story. So me and Anna were voting 2-3 years ago. Propositions, going through them all. As any couple would do, you kind of say, hey, how do you feel about the subject? It's a good kind of nice, I would say, intimate conversation. You get to know your partner a little bit better. Like, how do you feel about this? Yeah. I don't know how couples do this. Do you guys talk about that kind of stuff? Or is it kind of like, okay.
So I actually like to fill them out separately and then kind of discuss the differences.
So I fill it out for my wife because I want to make sure she votes exactly the same as me.
Ooh, good. That way it double counts. I like it.
No,
I think Chicago does that a lot.
I'm joking, everybody.
Is he?
I'm like, you better vote this way or else. No. But we like to kind of talk through it, and it's rare that we are extremely different. And it's funny because if you would have
Was
caught
expected,
me
yeah.
3 or 4 years earlier, me and her would have been on the same page. I've been just slowly drifting on the whole drug train. And it's funny. Have I done any more drugs than I did 20 years or 10 years ago? No. Nope. Have not done anything more than drink some alcohol in a beer can. But I'm just like, why am I the person to tell people what to do?
So question.
Yeah.
Let's say, guys, it's very regularly, we can do better, of course, as we all can. But Cody and I and our wives, we try to get together, every 4 to 6 weeks for a dinner.
Oh, Jared's.
If normally, either we bring wine, we bring beer, we bring dessert, whatever the hell. If I were to bring a joint.
Yeah. Interesting. Anna's already tried to proposition this a couple times and see what I would say.
Yeah.
Because I think I would say possibly yes. But she would say no.
Because of the kids, because of the smell, because of...
No, I don't think it has anything. She's just like, why? I think...
You have enough vices or what?
I don't have any vices, dude. That's it. Yeah.
I'll say we drink beer every week.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a vice at this point. I got you.
And we're changing recession definitions. We're changing vice definitions. I get it, man. This is 2023, baby.
So it's funny. I would say I'm not to the point where I would say 100% yes. If it was somebody like you, I might say, you know what? I'm at that point. I'm 31, 32. I'm telling people right now I'm going to vote for yes.
I'll vote for yes.
Exactly. And so I'm kind of like, It's funny because you know how many times I've not let in the peer pressure?
Oh, I know.
And
your entire fucking life.
And the thing is it's
you always led the peer pressure.
I know, right? If I'm not pressuring somebody, I'm not getting let into it.
I know.
Right? Like I have to be the pressure.
I'm so glad you never became a drug dealer because you're such a good salesperson. No one would have graduated. I know where you went to.
No one would have graduated. 100%.
Because I swear to God, we've been friends for 20 years. We've never said that to each other. I don't know how we...
Yeah, that was weird. No one would have graduated high school. 100%. Every single person would be missing classes. Yeah, 100%. I would have sold it to every single person.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, shit, you can make money this easily? This is the best product in the world.
So that's funny. So you guys... So Anna still no?
100% no.
100% no.
She switched. She went from okay with it. And then as soon as we had our first kid, she's like, okay, I don't know if I want to have this kind of thought process because I understand there are real consequences.
So here, help me understand her boundaries, I guess.
Yeah.
So would she be okay? And by okay, I mean just indifferent, right? Not endorsing, but not shaming. So it's very common. You and I, various celebrations or just kind of whatever moments.
Yeah.
Over our friendship, we probably smoked
10
cigars together over our lifetime.
Yeah.
Does Anna have a problem with? Because naturally, during smoking cigars.
Yeah, zero.
Okay. Do you kind of see a little bit of the similarities between smoking a cigar and drinking a beer at the same time? Very similar effect of a joint, one would say, right?
Again, never have smoked weed. So I don't know the effects. But I would agree with you. There are similar effects. Guys, and just that's probably crazy for a lot of our listeners, right? Like I drink.
So this is going to be one of our tests. Will you commit to this? So we've often wondered if one of our buddies, actually the only guest we've ever had on the show.
Yeah.
This will be a test. John, you have from now until August, I believe, mid-August. If you listen to this episode,
yeah,
all you have to say to either myself or Cody, or maybe in our group chat, pineapple. And if you say or text the word pineapple, Cody will bring a joint to our little trip that we got to Lee's Ferry. Is that fair?
Damn. You're using right now our podcast as like a peer pressure point. Smart move, dude. Smart move.
All of Canada is going to judge the shit out of you, man.
Oh, Canada?
We still have that strong Canadian listening.
I know.
Man.
And I know exactly who started that presence, which is hilarious. She like really like saturated that market.
I love it.
Yeah, that Toronto, Montreal market. Hey, shout out there, Canadian listeners. Yeah, I don't think there's an issue there. I think you're trying to. I think you're trying to do a little bit of a peer pressure. I don't use the word pineapple because there is actually some other connotations of pineapple. You don't know about this? I can't wait to like lay this on you right now because Brittany listens to this.
Should I be apologizing? Should I be backtracking right now? Do I have to edit this
watermelon.
later?
Let's use watermelon.
Watermelon.
Yeah, so pineapple, Jared, this is actually probably a good idea that you know this, especially because you travel a lot.
Okay.
If you see anybody with a pineapple pen, image, background on their phone, especially if it's upside down, it means that they're swingers. They're in an open relationship.
Okay.
You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So when John sends me that, there could be different connotations, buddy. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, just kidding. Watermelon.
That's funny, right?
Wow.
You didn't know that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So just shout out there. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. There's a couple different
really
signals. Yeah, pineapple. There's another.
I love pineapple.
There's an animal, a pink animal, that also has that same connotation. But it's kind of like a signal. So like if I had like a pineapple at my front doorstep, that would kind of signal to my neighbors, hey, just so you know, we're swingers. 100%.
So is that kind of like open invitation, like, hey, door's unlocked, come on in?
No, it just says, hey, you know what? If you're kind of fun, we wouldn't mind meeting you. No, but it's not like, hey, we're like, it just means that we are swingers. It doesn't mean like it's like easy access. It just means like, hey, who are you? We'd love to meet you.
Come in, we'll interview you.
Have a dinner.
How often do you work out?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually a real thing. Usually it's so they used to just do a pineapple. Now it's an upside down pineapple.
Okay, good, because we actually just bought a pineapple when we were grocery shopping this weekend.
Not a real pineapple. It's normally like a wooden one or something.
Oh, cool. No, this is a real one. She cut it up and everything.
No. We bought a pineapple too. No. Normally it's like
I'm scared to buy fruit now.
No. It's an image of a pineapple. So like, next time when you're driving, like look on the back of a car, and if you see a pineapple on the back of a car as like a logo, that's a swinger.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just kind of like a little inside type thing. And I'm sure they're all pissed off at me right now because I'm saying this out loud.
Oh, is it like a secret code?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a secret code. And I don't even want to say the other item because like I've already exposed that one.
So you got to stay true to like your swinger cult. You don't want to give away all your...
No, I feel bad that I did that because it's like one of those like inside kind of things. So,
anyways, so
me and Anna, I didn't even finish my story, dude. So me and Anna, we're looking at our voting.
Okay.
And we're like, hey, how are we going to vote on this one? Like proposition, I think it was like 404 or whatever.
I thought it was 140, but
yeah, maybe 140. And it didn't pass 6 years ago, right? And I voted. This just shows how much I've changed, right? I voted 100% no. I was like, if buts, no way. Why would we? Medical marijuana? I said yes. That was 8 years ago. Recreational marijuana? I said, no way. I don't want more drug addicts. You know, this is my mindset. But then 2 years ago, it came back on Arizona ballot. Yep. And I was like, why am I telling any grown-ass adult what to do?
Exactly.
That's where I'm like, wait a minute here. Who am I? If somebody wants to smoke weed, someone wants to chew a gummy, somebody wants to go, maybe they have back pain, and I don't know what that feels like.
So just curiosity, do you suffer from any chronic pain?
None.
Nothing from wrestling or
nothing,
football or baseball or anything?
Dude, I always feel pretty privileged that I'm sitting here right now. I feel good. I wake up happy and I go to sleep pretty happy. There's some days where there's some like kind of like, my knee fucking hurts, right? Like
you tore your ACL about 4 years ago now.
And both ACLs have been torn.
Right? Oh, I just thought it was one from skiing.
Skiing and also my wrestling, one of my left knee.
Oh, I didn't know the wrestling
ACL and my
I forgot about that.
MCL on the inside, right? MCL, LCL. So my ACL and LCR in this one are torn, and my ACL and my right knee is torn, and my meniscus is torn in this right knee. So I got some fucked up knees, right? Went to the gym today, squatted, deadlift, all fine, right? Now, last week, I did all that, but I went a little over the top. I didn't give myself enough rest, and I probably had bad form by my last set. And whenever I do that, the next 4 or 5 days, my knees fucking hurt, right?
So what about like whenever you go, you were just in the Northeast with your family for a conference. Did the lower temperature just make you ache?
A little bit, man. The lower temperature, or if there's a lot of moisture. I notice if there's higher humidity, I get a little like achy. But dude, it's not like I can't walk. Like I walked in DC 12 miles on one day.
Yeah.
That sucked. The next morning I was a little like I was like, oh man, I'm stiff. They kind of swell up a little bit. Like I feel like there's liquid there. But no chronic. I wouldn't say it's chronic pain. That's local temporary pain. So anyways, dude, you're bad at this, man. You're really good at keeping me off the topic. Me and Anna, we vote differently. Right? I go like this. I'm not telling anyone what to do. She says I'm a mom. The last thing I want is easier, and this makes sense, easier access to drugs. Because she says, hey, marijuana is where it starts, and this used to be this thing. Okay, well, what happens if all of a sudden LSD? What happens if all of a sudden it's MDMA? Or it's
So
go ahead.
Here's where I want to push back on that.
Yeah.
So every single week, you and I are fortunate enough and privileged enough we can buy a 6-pack of beer, or shout out future sponsors, have beer bought for us. And we are privileged. Every time we crack that can, we know what we're getting in there.
Yeah.
Do people that are consuming drugs have that privilege every time they light up that they know what they're smoking or they know what they're ingesting?
I guess in the states that are now recreational, yeah.
Depending on the source, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Only assuming that you're buying from a reputable source. That's why I'm so for it. Because people are going to do... I don't think... No, I think maybe it incrementally increased. But guys, if you had more than 2 friends in school, you knew how to get weed. Or any drug for that matter. I mean...
So, how about this? Do you got a buddy right now that can eat heroin?
I probably... not in my close circle, but I bet I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Do you think you could get heroin by Saturday? I can. I'm being honest. I could not. I think there are a couple of weird drugs that I could get by Saturday. I could get cocaine and I can get mushrooms by Saturday. So again, I'm not trying to even like make a point here. I'm just saying that there are some drugs.
Heroin?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know anyone that deals heroin. I don't know anyone ever that has done heroin.
So I don't
deals heroin, I should say.
I don't in my circle, of course not, right? But I know a couple people that do a little coke, do a little mushrooms, and I bet they know someone. So I think
you could get there.
I bet I could get there in 96 hours. I bet I can get any fucking drug I wanted.
Do you think that creates a bit of a barrier for you doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So just because it's not, so I would say if it's not within your friends, like your neighbor, your good friend,
yep,
Circle K. So I'm going to put Circle K in your friend circle because you can just walk in there and buy it. That puts a barrier, which makes less people do it.
Sure.
Right? Do you think that's good or bad for certain drugs? Or do you think it should be like, hey, why are we even putting a barrier on anything for grown adults?
Dude, I thought we talked about this earlier in our drugs episode, and maybe this is just a personal conversation, so I apologize if I'm mixing here. Guys, you're a grown-ass person. Do you drink 36 ounces of beer? Sure, we do every Tuesday. Do I drink 36 ounces of whiskey? No.
You could, though. Some people do.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's how I want to view drugs. That's how I want to view all drugs. I can drink 36 packets of sugar in my coffee tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can, doesn't mean I should. I can overdose on fucking caffeine. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, as with all things.
It's weird. I just thought of the weirdest analogy.
Let's hear it.
How fast could you go on the freeway right now?
Can I go
Yeah.
or will I go?
Can you go?
I think my Jeep will probably do $140.
What's the likelihood of probably dying?
Pretty fucking high. I sneeze a lot.
What's the speed limit?
65.
There you go, right? It's kind of like exactly what we're doing. Hey,
Perfect analogy.
We're going to drink 3 beers on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Maybe have a beer or 2 on this weekend. And guess what? That's our week of beers. 5, 7 beers.
Sure.
That's our entire week of beers. That's 65. You could have 35 ounces of Jack Daniel's whiskey.
Holy shit.
You could smoke 5 joints every day of the week and maybe not get anything done. It's all about quantity. It's all about
choice.
It's about, a little bit of a discipline, quantity. It's like, hey, you know what? I would love to drive 140 miles an hour because I can get there faster.
Hell yeah.
But guess what? Risk increases, right? That's funny because
perfect analogy, man.
As you were saying that, I was thinking, man, you know what? You could fucking drive home right now. You could go down the city streets 140 miles an hour, skip a couple red lights.
What's a red light?
But guess what? There's consequences. And I think the drug thing's weird because people don't know there's consequences because sometimes it's like the first time they've done it. Sometimes it's not properly distributed. To your point, that might be the biggest issue because you don't know what you're buying.
That's my biggest rub, actually. I know without a shadow of a doubt.
7.1%. You know what's in here. 7.1%. It says it on there. 12 ounces.
So I know this is about double what a Coors Light would be.
Exactly. You're like, I have.
So I know this would be equivalent of drinking a 6-pack of Coors Light.
And you're like, okay, I had 5 Coors Lights in the past. This is going to do me in for 5 beers. I need to hang out for a little bit.
Guys, no different. If you remember about a month ago, there was a super strong beer. Cody and I, for the first time, still to this date, stopped our podcast at 2 beers each instead of 3.
It was like 9.8. And we're like, dude, we can't do this. We knew our limit because we knew.
Whereas if you're lighting up with some guy in a back alley, you have no effing clue what you're ingesting. That's my biggest rub on drugs, man. Because I know if I'm going to do a shot of sake or Everclear or 151, I know that's going to fuck me up as opposed to a shot of beer.
Yeah, so somebody gives you a shot of one of those. You're like, hey, I'm in for 1.
What is 1?
But you're in for 1, right? And because you're like, hey, a shot is pretty similar across the alcohol spectrum, right? I get it.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. But you're like, I know what a shot kind of is. It's a very similar amount of liquid, 1.5 ounces, I think it is, right? Cool. But I get it. An Everclear is different than a sake bomb or whatever. But you know what it could do to you? And you're like, okay, I'm not doing more than 1. Right? On our wedding nights, right? You remember, everyone wants to give you shots all night.
Oh, bastards.
And you guys are... and
hell, you contributed that, dick.
I know.
With that Johnny Walker Blue.
That's not a shot.
We weren't drinking it slowly.
Yeah, but that
Whatever.
wasn't a shot.
Yeah.
That was, come on. Johnny Walker Blue over ice is like... You're killing me here because that was emotional for me.
Oh, dude, it was honestly one of the more special things, but fuck you, officially.
What? You didn't drink all yet. So, but it's funny because you know what a shot does. To your point, if somebody gave you right now, like let's just say one of these things that are on the okay, if somebody gave you an ecstasy pill that said 3 milligrams on it, would that mean anything to you?
No.
Could it be 10? Could it be 3? Or could it be 1? And
I know ibuprofen is what, 100?
Exactly.
I was like, that sounds like a pussy pill to me.
Dude, you wouldn't live if you had 100 extra pill. You probably your body would just dry
but
up.
that's honestly, I was of course, making a joke, but and all joking aside, like a pill of ibuprofen is 100 milligrams, I think.
And so somebody said, hey, you know what? MDMA, right? Ecstasy, which is like a club pill, right? That people have fun with and everything like that. They say, hey, yeah, here you go, Jared. And you're like, kind of like your first beer. Sure, I guess I'll do it. You put it in your mouth and all of a sudden you're like, I'm in another dimension right now. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know, but it's an interesting point. You're like, should we not have a little bit more almost like drug knowledge? That's what you're trying to say, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Drug control, drug knowledge, and control, not in the war on drug sense, but control in that, again, I know I'm drinking a 7.1%. I'm not drinking a 70.1%. Right? The decimal point doesn't move on me. And I feel like in back alley drugs, the decimal point moves. And I think that's wrong to the consumer. Now, guys, we can go down the morality of breaking the law, all that bullshit. I'm talking about from the consumer standpoint. I know without a shadow of a doubt, within a couple of deviations, of course, because I'm sure this is maybe 7.15, 12, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
It's not 71%.
That makes sense, dude, actually. Good logic there. And I bet you, and you know what's funny? For whatever reason, I feel like I always kind of connect with a lot of people from like Latin America, South America. Whenever I go anywhere, I always meet people from like Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador. I connect with them for whatever reason. And they have a lot more drug access than we do. But they just know more about it. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm never going to touch that. It's because they just like, they're my age or they're younger. And they're like, yeah, no, we have clubs and we go to bars and all that. And they say, no, that's bad. That's good. They know. We don't have that here at all.
All drugs are bad. Equally bad.
Like we had a couple guys in high school, right? They dealed weed. Was it good weed? Was it bad weed? I don't know. It was from that guy.
They drove a cool car.
He's a reliable source. Where is he getting his stuff from? No one knows. It could change every week. Wherever he get the best margins from. Right? Kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Dude, so medical marijuana, you're saying we're in our last beer here. So
as we conclude, man.
We still got a couple minutes, but
I am so for it, it hurts.
You're saying, hey, let's make medical marijuana easy.
And I want to shame myself and everyone that's listening to us that shares my sentiment. And I'm going to try to actively change my mind in that I will actually approve of the person that lights up a joint versus pop up a pill because it's so much healthier, healthier vice, healthier pain medication, whatever you want to call it. Like,
what do you think that you got that from? Can I ask? Where do you think you got that that negative perception of it from?
Dude, honestly, I think it's got to be Dare.
And your parents? What's your mom and dad like about that? What's your mom? I don't know where mom and David is about that. And your dad? I don't know. I would imagine they're kind of like almost in the middle ground, to be honest. I don't know. They never really influenced you on that shit?
Not really. Now that I think about it.
They never... Because they told you alcohol is bad when you were younger a little bit. But did they never really tell you, hey, what the fuck are you even thinking about weed?
Honestly, I think they just took for granted my focus on football to where they knew they didn't have to worry about that.
So Dare and probably your friend group.
Dude, honestly, like Dare's scared. Like, dude, I know Dare has been under hyper criticism and all that shit. Dare scared the shit out of me.
Remember those days?
They literally said if you even look at a joint, your brain's going to turn to mush.
Remember all those photos they show us?
Yeah, unfortunately I do.
Dude, I just thought of a good one. Because Dare is a great one. But remember sex education?
Oh, yeah. If you touch a girl's elbow, she's pregnant.
Or if you touch a girl, you get chlamydia.
Oh, my God. And all those pictures of your...
Remember those?
Yeah. How could you not?
You see a dick with like all these like aneurysms on it, or not aneurysms, sorry, but all these like
growths and shit.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
Quite literally,
right?
Yeah,
you're like
same equivalent. Yeah.
It's same thing, right?
Yeah, you touch a girl's elbow, you're gonna get a growth. If you smoke a joint, your brain turns to mush.
Smoke a joint? You mean inhale the smoke of a joint from a person under the bleachers?
Yeah.
Remember how crazy that was? Okay, so you're saying Dare. My parents were hard on me. My mom.
Really?
My mom was hard on it, dude.
Now, what are your brothers? Are your brothers pro or con?
Oh, dude.
Weed.
Brother, yeah.
Both?
They're pro it. Yeah, 100% pro.
Are they users?
Not like what I would call recreationally.
Like
often. Like
yeah, someone passes it, whatever.
Party time kind of thing, right? Party time. I went to a... Probably my Now, you know what? I'm not gonna say crazy experience because there's a couple times in college, but one of my most recent crazy
Oh,
experiences.
is this that damn pool party?
That's another one. But I went to a bachelor party.
After your daughter's second birthday?
Yeah, my son was just born.
Different story.
Wait, are you trying to like kind of make me feel bad here, man?
No, I was just curious.
Oh, where it is?
Yeah, where you are.
So
Because I think, I don't know what you're about to say, so I just want to build the deck and hopefully get you on my side.
So I'm at a bachelor party, and we get in these Ubers, and one of the guys is like, "Hey man, where can we grab some mushrooms?"
Party favors.
Yeah, no, he says straight up mushrooms. One of the guys I'm with,
shit.
and I'm in an Uber with 3 guys. I'm paying for the Uber because I'm the only guy that's sober, not really sober, but I'm the only guy
has
that's
any money at this bachelor party
and money, cognizant and money.
Everyone's broke as shit at this bachelor party. I know this story.
So we got like 3 out. We got not like 3 miles, 4 miles, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I got everything." I'm like, I'm sitting in the passenger. I'm like, "What do you mean you got everything, dude?" He starts breaking out baggies.
Shut the fuck up. What do you see? What do you see?
Everything Miami has.
Everything.
Miami?
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything.
Okay.
So he starts breaking out little bags. He's like, "Dude, I got you, man." And he starts taking us on like longer routes because he wants to start selling us shit. And I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, "Oh my God, this guy."
So this is costing you more money.
No. He gives us free ride now because we buy so much shit. He's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, guys. This is why I do the Uber. It's his business."
That's his inside rep. Is Uber.
Uber gets him the buyers. Smart move.
He goes to the airport. He knows the bachelor party.
Smart moves, right? Smart moves. So this guy, he distributes, let's say 3 or 4 different types of drugs, right? Mushrooms, weed, and it just gets more aggressive. And I'm like, man, this is kind of crazy. Like, he has all these drugs that he's just driving around with, and he's just distributing and cash, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, this is kind of against my internal morals. But then I'm like, wait a minute here. And I'm fighting. I'm like, I've had a great time the last 2 days with these guys. Why? Like, am I like in this some all-powerful position to tell them no or yes?
Good.
And I'm the one, of course, the oldest guy in the car. Where
I
could say
5-6 years.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I could tell it. Hey, guys, come on now. And they would listen to me, right? Because I've been directed. I had an itinerary for the whole fucking trip. And they would. And but what? Well, I'm thinking there. I went through this kind of
moral epiphany almost?
Exactly. It was an epiphany. I'm sitting there in the front seat as this guy's fucking pulling baggies of weed, baggies of mushrooms, baggies of cocaine, baggies of everything. And I'm thinking,
who the fuck am I?
Why do I have this God power to tell them no or yes? It's weird because I have the power to say no to myself. I can say, no, I'm not going to snuff that cocaine. I'm not going to smoke any of that weed. I'm not going to eat any of those mushrooms. I'm not going to do any of that. I can do that to myself. But it was weird. That was kind of probably my moment where I just went 100% switched. Who am I to tell these kids, these guys, these grown-ass adults that are 28 years old, 27 years old, what they're doing? It was weird. That was probably the moment where I just said, I'm good. I don't need to tell people what to do.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Right there in an Uber.
Yeah. And I'm probably also
honestly
22 beers deep that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Holier than thou.
Yeah. But then the next morning, I'm like,
but they'll have 6 beers and smoke a couple joints.
yeah.
But you're better?
I woke up the next morning. That was a crazy fucking Uber ride. And I'm thinking,
it's one of those things where I'm so happy that you expressed the humility there, because I don't feel like a lot of people are willing to get there. So again, just because you don't partake, and guys, honestly, a bag of 20 gummies has lasted me 18 months. I would not class myself as a regular user.
No, it's a pain issue.
Quite literally, like, guys, right now, as we sit 3 beers deep, I'm in pain.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you actually about this. I wanted to ask you about it because you mentioned it. You've taken pain pills, like opioid or Oxycontin, probably.
Hundreds.
Okay. Hundreds of pills? You think so? 100. Okay, so
Not hundreds, but in the hundreds. I'd say like over 100.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, you're like 122 actually. That'd be a weird kid number. But let's just say you've had multiple refills and you've taken some OxyContin, right? Which is a common pain reliever.
With all my surgeries and injuries, yeah.
They give you a 30-day vial, and that thing lasts you for 30, 60, 40 days, or whatever it is. And so you're like, yeah, over the last 10 years, I've taken 122 Vicodin or 122 OxyContin. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, I'm going to take this half a gummy bear. And, you're not a fucking... You don't know what weed counts. You know this little pill of OxyContin feels pretty good. You're like, I'll take one of those, and I'll feel good for the next 6 hours. You know what that is.
Yep.
And you wake up, you're hurting. You're like, oh, fuck, I got to fucking take one of these just to do my day. A little pill. You wake up, and you've just been traveling for 3 days. You've been sitting in a airplane fucking chair, and you're like, holy fuck, I feel like shit. I don't know if I can move. I just got my hotel. I got shit to do. Like,
clients to see.
Yeah, I want to take one of these little gummy bears. I'm going to bite half of it off. How similar is it to that OxyContin? And
I'm glad you asked that question because Brittany actually just asked me this question a couple months ago. So how I describe it, and I'm going to try to do it a little bit more accurately. Hopefully this is my second time through, so I've had a little practice. So Percocet was always kind of the thing that was prescribed to us.
Oh, okay.
So that was my go-to.
And that's about the weakest for everybody listening of all of those.
So honestly, I've never been a dumb person. I've always known that these are clearly not good for me. But guys,
when you're in a position, you have to just do it. Some
of the injuries that you sustain, some of the tasks that you have to complete, on the field, like I'm not gonna say you need to take them, but you need to take them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Percocet was always my go-to. And this. I'm not proud, guys. This isn't me beating my chest. I'm not proud. Whenever I told Cody this, I've literally taken over 100 pills. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm not that fucking old. But
also 7 years, like that's not that many.
So anyways, I knew if I could take a Percocet pill, it would start to almost like make you give a shit less as far like it's actually really dangerous because you stop feeling.
Yeah.
And whenever I take a half of one of these little gummies, it takes the bite off. Is how I like to say it.
Like movements.
And what I mean by that is right now I'm good. I didn't go to the gym this morning. I had other shit to do this morning. But if I push it too hard, if I maybe load it up, try to get back to pushing real weight.
Yeah.
Sometimes I cannot focus. I cannot type an email. I cannot conduct a meeting. I can't do stuff. So I need that bite taken off. So whenever you take a half a gummy, and I don't know what Britt got me, but I've noticed it. So I start off in force, and then I worked away to half. I noticed that half is my sweet spot to where it takes the bite off, to where like, okay, it's there. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying. I know what everything is. It's just a tolerable chronic pain. But there are just certain movements, certain acts, certain plane rides, etc. It's like, oh shit, I can't even think right now. Literally all I can think about is, oh shit, have I been standing too long? Have I been sitting too long? Have I been slouching too big? And that gummy will take the bite off it. I still know what I am. I still know who I am, what I'm saying, what I'm doing, etc. It just makes life tolerable as to where the Percocet, and I know there's pill splitters and all that shit. And my stepdad actually does do that, and so kudos to him. But I'm not willing to buy a fucking pill splitter to where it's just easy to tear a gummy in half. To where I never really found out it's either, hey, I'm in an immense amount of pain and I'm literally having to like fight back, like grimacing in tears essentially, or I don't feel shit. There's no really in between with the painkillers.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That was a really long story. I'm sorry.
No. I love that, dude. That is such a solid story for everybody listening that's maybe even addicted to these painkillers. And they're like, they feel bad about it. I went through
Dude, it's not fun to admit out loud.
No, yeah. I talked to somebody today that had an addiction story. It wasn't painkillers. It was actually gambling. And they walked me through the gambling story. It was just 7 years of hiding money and accounts and personal loans and all this shit from their wife, right? Just like hard stuff. And that's an addiction. 100% it's an addiction, gambling shit.
Irrefutable.
And I don't know. Out of all the people that I know that smoke weed or take the, edibles and all that shit, I never have gotten those addiction vibes from those people. It's kind of like a beer. Like a beer. I get it. There are people out there, like you said, that are alcoholics that have to hide their alcohol and shit like that. Yep. It's kind of like, oh, I'm hanging out with somebody. I'm going to have a little bit. It's kind of like I need it for this specific thing, or I want to do it for this specific thing, and that's it. It's not like a reoccurring event. But man, his addiction story kind of hit hard for me. I've never had I guess I've never heard that deep of a story from a gambling addict. And he went so deep because he's in that gambling anonymous thing where he has to tell every like I asked him anything he wanted, like, and he has to say it. It's part of his thing. He has to be honest about his habit.
So that's hard
for him. And he even told me, I was like, dude, I understand because I've known some people that went through that, and I knew that you had to say everything honestly. And I appreciate for you doing that, and congratulations, because that means that you're really...
The humility that those individuals that have admitted they have a problem, fuck anyone
that holds them against them.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly mean that.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea the strength that man or woman just displayed by laying their cards on the table.
100%. And he's new at it, man. 2 years. 2 years he has not went to the tables and lost money. He got married. And
so you mean he goes to tables and wins? Or I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Poorly timed joke there.
He fucking told me 10 days later, after he got married, they had to renegotiate their mortgage on their house because he had to go take out a personal loan for over $12,000 for all the money he lost a week prior to their marriage, to fill his checking account to make sure that looked like the right amount of money. And when you hear that fucking story, and you're thinking, okay, yep, you're a gambling addict. You have a problem. It's not you. It's just there's this draw that we have in ourselves. There's just like this weird fucking little thing that just says, hey, go fucking do it more. Go do it more. There's this thing, right? You know what it is. You felt it. I felt it. Everyone's got this little thing. And whatever it is, it could be, it's the vices, right? It's money, gambling. It's drugs. It's sex. There are these things that people just get attracted to, and they look at that little golden ball and they're like, there it is. It's right there. I don't know how else to display it, right? Everyone has those little things.
Perfectly said.
It's right there, and you just keep on chasing it till all of a sudden you're in a dark spot, and all the people around you are just hurt. And the best thing about it, is that he just laid it on the floor, said it all, and I hate when people say negative shit about that. I've changed personally, where I would have judged, but I now reward people for that. And I think that's maybe the concept that we should probably say to everybody here on this episode, right? Medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, drugs in general. When you talk about it, we probably should just take a different point of view.
You're damn right.
Instead of judging based on it, wonder where they're coming from.
Why they're doing it.
Exactly. Why are they doing it?
Because you've had a tough day at work. To where I know you don't normally drink during the week. You've gotten your ass kicked on a Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh yeah.
And you came home and probably poured a glass of whiskey.
Oh yeah.
I have.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not an expressive person. I'm not somebody that would come home and just start pouring out to my wife. I don't think most men are.
No. Britt, it's about me. It gets so mad at me, but I don't.
Most men are not like that. But it's funny because I might pour a glass of wine or a glass of whiskey, and all of a sudden I might say something about work that Anna's like, weird. My wife, Anna, didn't know that even happened at work. And it's one of those like little lubricants. It just kind of makes your vowels come out differently.
Takes the bite off.
Exactly.
Takes the bite off the day.
Okay, so final little point here, buddy.
As we wrap up,
What do you got?
Guys, I'm part of the 90% of Americans that believes that both recreational, but specific to this podcast, medicinal marijuana is A-okay with the side effects and the horrific aftermaths that I've seen of people addicted to painkillers. Unfortunately, a couple of my teammates, etc. I am 100% actually okay with medical marijuana. 100%. I actually can't think of a logical use case against it.
My only argument against it, and I didn't actually expose this earlier, is age. So I do think there is a developmental issue with marijuana. There's been a couple of studies. I didn't bring them up earlier, but I wanted to make sure I touch on this just at the very end here. I think I'm 100% on board with you.
Okay.
I do not want to see an increase in young children doing drugs, doing marijuana, because it does show that it does increase the likelihood of psychosis, schizophrenia, things that can ruin your life.
Fuck your life up. So, and you're talking about, the 6-year-old that breaks their arm on a trampoline or things like that.
Sorry, one more time.
Like the 6-year-old that breaks their arm on a trampoline.
Yeah, or the high schooler that just, already kind of has a little bit of a loose bolt. Let's just say it's a little loose. And if they were able to make it 25.
So I do want to make you commit here. So let's say it is that, let's go a hard age. Let's go, it's a freshman in high school, so they're 13 years old, 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they have a compound fracture in their arm.
Yeah.
They're playing football. Compound fracture in the arm. Naturally surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Normal practice today is 30 days after surgery, you're going to get
some Vicodin.
oxycodone.
Oh, yeah.
What would you rather in that 13, 14-year-old? Compound fracture after surgery.
I would say probably oxycodone or Vicodin.
The medical marijuana?
Yeah. I think there's been more negative side effects to marijuana for young, just because it has an effect on the brain, which I'm saying is good when you're older. But your brain is just so dramatic.
Formative, yeah.
Exactly. Your frontal cortex is so malleable. And marijuana seems to change some of the synapses between those cells or those connections. And so I would say, hey, you know what? Let's just do some of this numbing shit. I get it. It's not as good. 10 pills, 20 pills,
opioids.
30 days,
okay.
Opioids. And then, but the cool thing there is that it's very controllable because you still have parents that are highly, involved. You're a freshman, you're a sophomore, whatever. You got a broken arm. Guess what? Those parents are literally fucking opening the bottle, giving you the pill in the morning. Right? I'm fine with that. You turn 21, 22. I'm still a little leery about it, honestly. Your frontal cortex, especially for males, 25 years old. And that's where I'm kind of saying is like...
I get we're picking between lesser of two evils.
Yeah. And so, if I was going to say, hey, let's just draw a line, I would say, hey, you know what, 21. That's where we're putting alcohol at. That's where marijuana is at. Cool. I would actually probably say marijuana might be even a little older, maybe like 25. We had an age conversation earlier.
We did.
And I wouldn't mind that just because I feel like, and especially for males, I don't want more kids going through some type of mental disorder issue.
Respect that.
Because of a drug.
Okay.
That would be dramatic for me.
100%.
Right? Okay, guys. Shout out to you, everybody. Dude, if you're part of these states, I wanted to shout these out because this is kind of crazy. You got Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas. What is that? Iowa, Wisconsin,
IA.
Texas.
Fucking Texas.
Tennessee, Georgia, not Alabama. Alabama's already got Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. If you're part of those states, you're part of the 12 that have not even allowed this medically yet.
All those are fucking red states, huh?
Wisconsin is blue.
Are
North
they?
Carolina is blue.
Oh,
There's some Democrat states there.
okay. The majority, I feel like, are pretty red.
Yeah, those two
Glowing
are
red.
going to be more Democrat-led. Iowa's kind of in the middle. They normally are kind of a weird state.
Yeah, I know.
Georgia, I think, actually has 2 Democrat senators now. So, I'm not going to say they're all over the place, but they are more red. But guys, at least for medical use.
100.
At least for medical use.
I would actually welcome a conversation with anyone that can say no for medical use.
Yeah. If it's between fentanyl and weed, easy. Easy peasy. Okay, guys. Really appreciate you guys listening.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, give us a follow on all of your places you guys listen to podcasts. Also follow us on, of course, YouTube.
YouTube now?
What now?
YouTube now, yeah.
YouTube, yeah, of course. Okay, later, guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Oh, I got to